All right, everybody here? Y'all ready? Game day? Good. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I would ask you, well, first we have the prayer and the pledge by Councilwoman Dee Dee Johnson-Reed.
We're going to start out by saying the Lord's Prayer. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas.
Present.
Councilmember Brooke Moorcock. Here. Councilmember David Broussard.
By Marlowe.
He's here.
Yeah.
Councilmember Dee Dee Johnson-Reed.
Here.
Councilmember Marlon Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter.
Here.
Councilmember Dustin Swear.
Here.
There you have a quorum.
That's all right. Thank you. Our first item is public comment. I'll ask you at this time to please put your phones on silent or vibrate. And our comment cards, you have 3 minutes to speak. There's no back and forth. We just listen.
Benjamin Myers would like to speak on agenda item number 10.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Listen, item number 10 was based on the Marlon Lewis, so we can address the increase in our rate of people. We all experience the same rate hike before, I'm sure you all look back to June, July, and August, we're going from a flat rate to a tier level charge for people. For example, the tier level consists of the first 1,000 kilowatt hours, we're paying 7 cents, but we're paying 5.5 cents before. The second rate in the kilowatt hour, next 500 kilowatt hours, we're paying 8 cents. And anything above these 1,500 kilowatt hours, we are paying 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Now that includes every resident in Iberia, including City Hall, who also pays the bill to people. And I'm sure that their bills are going to be above that 20 or that 1,500 kilowatt hour plateau, where we pay for the city's service as well as commercial service. We want to be above that 1,500 kilowatt hour plateau. We'll be paying 10 cents per kilowatt hour straight out. All right, that's almost I would say an 80-85% increase in the rates on our bills. Now, what we are asking, and I spoke to someone in every one of your districts, Brooklyn, I spoke to, I've been on Hill, I've been on Washington Street, Road District, I've seen downtown Silver Street, as well as yours, Ms. Johnson. Reed, listen, we have to, I would suggest, propose a resolution here tonight to send to the Public Service Commission as well as LICO to reduce those rates, and I don't want to say demand, but insist that these rates be rolled back. All right, we have poor people who just can't stand that extra $100 and something for light bill that they get. And you know, they have it structured to where it's, in the winter months, they're going to go back down to a flat rate. All right, they'll have their commercial tier level when they do that, right? Well, in the meantime, we also have something on our bills that give people the opportunity to run a bill on us, this restoration fee. We have a restoration fee portion of our bill that they're adding to it to try to make up for storm damage. My question to CLECO and the corporate board is what was happening to all of this other money that you've been collecting as restoration fees, all right, when we didn't have a storm, in order to pay extra now for the next year up until October, right? So what I'm basically asking in support of you guys, I hope you guys support this, that we do pass a resolution as a council and manager authorizing to contact CLECO as well as the Public Service Commission, insisting that these rates be rolled back, and we will go to what we call a flat rate. All right, let's go back to the flat rate for fuel adjustment, 2.5 cent fuel adjustment charge. That's for the gas or all that they use to produce the electricity. And we can go back to the 5.5 rate for kilowatt hour. Now, another thing we can pay attention to is what we paying as a franchise fee. This franchise fee is allowed by them agreeing to the contract to be passed on to the customer. right? Well, I would like to see that eliminated. You know, that Clico eat that franchise fee like it's supposed to be. It's an exception when they first started this, way back in the days of Bear Allen Day. All right, those type of things that we need to pay attention to. Now, we're not the only ones. We got Bill Black. If you all were paying attention to your television 2 weeks ago, Bill Black is in the uproar the same thing about this Clico rate increase that's hurting us dramatically. I mean, for the poor folks, fixed income folks, they need their air conditioners in sometime. There's no way in the world that they're going to be using under, 2,000 or 1,500 kilowatt hours. That's ridiculous. You know, I mean, I got a prime example at our home. One of the months in the summertime, we actually use 2,400 kilowatt hours. All right, just have to keep that in on because I'm coming to smother if it doesn't. If that's not on, right? So again, we need to try to get with the bill black people and both go ahead to Clico because now we got to recognize New Iberia, the city of New Iberia, we are one of Clico's largest markets in the state. All right. Clico didn't make that move on us until we were declared a disaster area in the parish, right? Then all of a sudden we get a notice that we're going to have a rate increase for storm restoration for Hurricane Laura, Delta, etc. All right? It wasn't until then that they did. Now, if you notice, though, all those folks who had damage from Laura never collected 1 penny from FEMA. All right? I've been around checking that house that burned on Field Street, the one that qualified. Look how long it sit there, didn't get anything until it was burned down by fireworks, right? So again, this is what we're up against. So again, I'm pleading with you all, just please develop and send a resolution, draft a resolution, so we can ask for this rate reduction, roll back these rates to accommodate us all as a city. City Hall, we paying them high rates too, in other words, they're not just robbing the citizens, they hit us up over here too. All right, so please, let's consider that in both that way tonight and send a resolution to these 2 people of the Public Service Commission as well as Clico themselves. Again, thank you all for the time.
Thank you.
Acceptance of the minutes.
We only have one comment, Corey?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
I'm asking. Okay.
that was it.
All right. Well, then we move on to item 2.
Acceptance of the minutes of October 5th, 2021, which will publish on October 22nd, 2021.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas and a second by Councilman Marlon Lewis. Any discussion about our October 5th minutes? Hearing, seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, 3A.
Chloe Willis to address the council and accept a certificate of acknowledgement for winning Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes Outstanding Elementary Project with her research and documentary on her great-grandfather, Reverend Dr. T.J. Jefferson.
All right, that's awesome. I see she's here. I see her teachers here. Why don't y'all come on up? Good to have you here.
Thank you, Mayor DeCourt and Council for inviting me. I am proud to share my great-grandfather's legacy with the community. He led the first bus boycott of the Civil Rights Movement. I don't think Martin Luther King Jr. would have led a bus boycott without my great-grandfather's influence. I hope to influence others to make a difference like he did. I think people should remember the name Reverend Dr. T.J. Jefferson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And good job. I mean, from everything we hear, you just, it's awesome. So can't thank you enough.
I just want to say a few words about the project itself. I'm Margaret Simon, Jeff's wife, and Chloe's teacher. She's in my gifted class, and we discovered a few years ago. I get to teach. I get the privilege of teaching students like Chloe throughout their elementary school years, and so Chloe was my student since she was in first grade at Jefferson Island Elementary, and about in fourth grade we had a discussion about the Civil Rights Movement, and she said, well, you know, my great-grandfather met Reverend Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. And I was like, yeah, okay. You know how we do. So, now in fifth grade, I read an LEH article in the 64 Parishes Journal that mentioned the Baton Rouge bus boycott of 1953, and it had T.J. Jemison as the leader, organizer of that boycott. So I asked Chloe, what was your great-grandfather's name? And she wasn't really sure. So I texted her mother, and she let us know, yes, that was who he was. And so we started looking into this project long before we decided to do the Lowell Milken Foundation Discovery Award, because it was just that intriguing and interesting for her to find that kind of thing out. Dr. T.J. Jemison died when she was 3 years old, so she did meet him, but she doesn't have any recollection of that. So the project was a labor of love. We worked very hard on it. It's a documentary, and it can be found on YouTube, and it also can be found on the Lowell Milken website. And it's a little over 10 minutes long, and I think you would enjoy learning about T.J. Jemison and also just celebrating the accomplishment of Chloe. Thank you.
Great, great. Chloe, we have a proclamation for you. You can come get just to acknowledge your award and all the good work you're doing. So thank you. All right, move on to 3B.
Chandler Staples to give an update on Jefferson Terrace Drainage Project Phase 2.
Yes, good evening. I appreciate the opportunity. I just wanted to give you a real quick update. We do have the plans ready. They've been ready for a few months. We are in the process of working with CenterPoint Energy to relocate a gas line that is on our side of the road to the opposite side. So they have to get private easements, private right-of-ways to do that. So we've kind of been waiting for them. As soon as they get going, we'll be able to get going with our project. And they're telling me that should happen before the end of the year. They should have their lines relocated. So hopefully we could time it to where we'll go out to bid November, end of November, early December, and then get it started in January. So
Good.
if anybody has any questions on that project.
Questions, comments? I think it's just long awaited, and we're looking forward to it, you know.
wait.
So
Appreciate it.
Sooner the better.
Thank
you. All right, Madam Clerk.
Public hearing. Public hearing for ordinance number 2021-10, amendment number 9, an ordinance amending the budget to adjust within 5%.
I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion.
Councilwoman Dee Johnson-Reed and Councilman Dustin Swear. Is there any public comment on this item? Hearing seen none. I need a motion to close.
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas.
Second.
Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk. 5A. God bless you.
Adoption. Ordinance number 2020-2021-10, amendment 9, an ordinance amending the budget to adjust within 5%.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Dee Johnson-Reed, and the second, Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing seen none. Please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Clerk.
Number 6, introduction of ordinance number 2021-16, approving franchise agreement with Louisiana Water Company, LawCo, or extension of existing agreement, and to set for public hearing on November the 2nd, 2021.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Marlon Lewis. Do I have a second? I think I heard Councilman Russo. Thank you. If you look, we have it attached. We have a one-year agreement that's what we're discussing tonight, to approve a one-year agreement. This agreement, just to give you a little clarity, it's normally a 20-year agreement. We have been talking and going back and forth, and we're not totally there yet, so we are doing a one-year extension so that we are still operating under a franchise agreement, and this allows us time to keep talking. So that's the point of this. But I'll open it up to the floor if we have any discussion.
So
Yes, sir.
So this extension it just mirrors the original franchise agreement that we are currently having?
Right, it is an
Right.
extension. Nothing has changed yet.
Nothing changed in the extension?
Correct.
Okay.
So it gives us another year. And if we do come to terms and kind of see that things are where they should be, I'll bring you back a deal, and it could be within the year time. In other words, we don't have to stick for a year to this. We're going to continue to have discussions, and if we come to terms, I will bring it back as soon as we come to terms.
Okay.
And that would be a longer franchise agreement.
Okay. That would be a 20-year agreement?
It might be a 10 with a renewal after 10, or it might be a 20-year. Let's just kind of wait and see, how it goes.
I was just trying to see, is that standard 20 years, or can we,
Most
Change
of
the
them are
term.
standard. I requested and looked at quite a few of them for LAWCO, and there were some of them that were 10 with an option.
okay. All right, sounds good.
Anybody else? And if there's no further discussion, then I would ask you to vote your machines. Thank you very much.
Introduction of ordinance number 2021-17, approving water service agreement with Louisiana Water Company, LAWCO, or extension of existing agreement, and to set for public hearing on November the 2nd.
Do I have a motion?
Move.
Motion by Councilman Dustin Swear, and do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, then please ask you to vote your machines. Thank you very much.
Introduction of ordinance number 2021-18, authorizing the city of New Iberia through the office of the mayor to purchase and/or expropriate parcel number 0504-824,000 I-45 and 90, Coleman, Bowman, Ferguson under and in accordance with LA Revised Statute 47-2236, and to set for public hearing on November the 2nd, 2021.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. I need a second.
Second.
Councilman David Broussard. Thank you. Is there any discussion on this item?
So, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Can you maybe give us a little?
Yeah.
This is the property that we have been trying to get next to the park. Little
City
Brooklyn
Park?
Park.
Oh,
Little
Little
Brooklyn
Brooklyn, okay.
And- Yes, no, this is not the bus stop. This is
Okay.
to extend the park. And this is a piece that's adjudicated, and so we've been going through a process. It takes a while, but we're finally to the point that we can move on this and take this property in to expand the park. Once we do that, then construction can start. Dustin had given $50,000 of his $100,000 to do a pavilion there. So we are in the process of developing the plans for that. Haven't decided if it's going to go in the existing park or the new one, but I did want to get this moving. And so it's been a while, and you got to go through the motions, and it's not as cheap or as quick as you would think it is to take a piece of adjudicated property. But this will give us an addition to a park in a neighborhood that is really revitalizing itself. And you're going to see in the upcoming months from some of our money that I am making a big push to increase our little neighborhood parks. I think that's very important to build a sense of community. We have some areas of town that have no parks. So we'll be coming, as I said, in the next few months. We have some ideas to try to expand on some of these parks and neighborhoods just to build a sense of community. But that's what we're doing.
Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted cleared up.
Good.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Then I would ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, 7A.
Resolution 21-120, approving a 2% general increase for municipal classified employees to become effective November 1st, 2021.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, and Councilman Swear had the second. Is there any discussion on this item? This is our 2% increase.
This is kind of the general every,
Yes, this is by law. We
Yeah,
do a
2%.
2% increase for civil service employees, and that's what this is to finish this up for our budget. Is there any discussion? Everybody good? Then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you. 7B.
Resolution 121, approving revision to the municipal civil service salary structure to reflect the increase in the range widths of pay grades 2 and 3 without affecting the minimum rates.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Marlon Lewis.
Second.
Second, Councilwoman DeeDee Reed. Is there any discussion on this item?
So why is it only affecting pay grades 2 and 3?
Because they needed adjusting. To fill those spots, we had looked at it and made a recommendation. The board, I see, people are here tonight. I don't know if y'all have any opinions or anything you want to say, but basically those two we're adjusting because we weren't, am I correct, we weren't filling them?
Well, we have to, it's to encompass all our employees to stay within
Within that range, you're right. You're right.
And when we increased 2, it kind of threw off where I was getting, we had to adjust 3 because it's
I got
to
you.
keep that space in between.
Anybody else?
Yeah, man, that's like for particular positions on the job that sound like you might.
Well, particular classifications.
Classification?
What positions, Bonnie? You mind coming up?
Yeah,
There's more than one position or classification that falls within certain pay grades. So it's not just like one. We have various positions that, you could have multiples that's in pay grade 2, multiples in pay grade 3. So they're not just, it's not just like one particular one that falls within a pay grade. I don't know if that answers your question.
So can you give us an
Yeah.
example
How
of one or
about
two?
some examples?
example,
Right.
yeah.
Like
That's
pay
what they
grade
want.
2, okay, I'm thinking on the top of my head because I don't have
I
it
know.
with me. But like 2, that's like your your janitor's a 1. Security guard, grounds maintenance laborers, those fall within like our 2. Pay grade 3, thanks clerks, trying to think, 3, equipment operator 1, it varies, but that would fall like in pay grade 3.
So is there any reason why pay grade 1 was not included?
We didn't need to, it already encompassed like our, anyone who held that pay within that pay grade was not meeting maximum. And that's what was happening in pay grade 2. So that's why we extended the it's only affecting the maximum side,
Right.
not the minimum side.
Okay. Okay.
Everybody's good? Okay. Hadn't we talked about there were a couple positions we wanted to increase the pay because we were having trouble filling them? Or is that just me?
And I know there is, we have done that
I know.
in the past, and we hadn't talked about any of them this year.
Okay.
Yeah,
So one more
not
question.
yet, but it might
Not
come
yet.
up.
Yes, ma'am.
One more question. I know it's like a 2% every year, but does civil service ever adjust for inflation or anything like that?
Well, that's the next item.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, you might want to wait till.
All right.
Yeah, that's the next item.
Okay. Sorry.
Good question, though. Thank you, Bond.
Okay.
Thank you, Craig, for all you do. You work hard for us, and I appreciate that. All right, we had a motion, we had a discussion. Please vote your machines. Thank you, thank you. Thank y'all.
Resolution 122, approving an additional 1% general increase for municipal classified employees to become effective December 5th, 2021.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, second by Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. This is the issue that we had a discussion about, and I went to the Civil Service Board meeting, and not a yes or a no from me, but just that we would like to know earlier, because we had already started our budget, had voted on our first budget, and then we got it. So in the future, we're hoping to kind of be able to maybe address some of this earlier, so that we, as we make our decisions, we kind of know what we're up against. But this is suggested from the board and sent to us. So now we can have a discussion. Any discussion?
So
Yes,
does
ma'am.
this 1% actually affect all civil service employees?
This would be every employee. This would
Excellent.
be everybody. If you choose to do it, it's across the board.
Okay,
So they would end up with a 3% increase this year instead of, this is in addition to the 2%. So everybody knows what we're talking
Right.
about.
okay.
Mandatory threes
That was going to be my
Yes.
question.
Yes, I figured that. Yes, ma'am.
Do we have enough money?
Well, when you look at it, because the board looks at who they direct, who works under their system, so that was, let's say, 50-something thousand, round figures. Well, you can't hardly not give it to the people who supervise them, not give it to everybody else, not give it to police and fire and the other people. So when you look at, I'm going to do it across the board for everybody, department heads included, well, it cost us $195,000 more, which grows exponentially because every year you're doing 2%. So it is an increase. Do I think this year we can afford it? Yeah. Do I think that the way things grow on us exponentially, if our economy stays good and if businesses keep coming and we're still doing well, that's fine. If we get to a point that we're at the tipping point, I run this like a business. We're supposed to be business-minded. You could end up that down the road, I might have to make some adjustments and come to you and say, I've got to make some cuts and I've got to change something. But that's always the case. I mean, as you know, we've been very aggressive. We got a lot of grants. We have matching dollars. We're making the city grow. We're doing a lot of things. You can't always do that. In other words, if we have a little luck and the harder you work, the luckier you get. If we continue to grow as a city and do well, we're fine. But it's the same risk with anything else we do. The amount of grants we're doing, the amount of public works projects, the amount of deferred maintenance that we've tended to with roofs and panels and all kind of stuff. You do it when you can. So do I think we can afford it? Yeah. Is it more and a bigger picture that we have to be conscious of? That's true too. That answer your question? Okay. Anybody else?
Question.
Yes, sir.
And when was the last time that they got an additional 1% raise?
I
Do you
looked
remember?
at that, and under Hilda's administration, there were 3%, and maybe even one time a 4% or 5%. Yeah, because it was to make up because one year they didn't get.
The 5 came in when we did a comprehensive study, and that was the result of that. It was a big study. That's where that 5%.
Yeah, and then I saw a couple of 3%. So I can't say that it hasn't been done, because it has.
Okay. And the 5% was how many years ago? Recent in Hilda, 7, 8, 10 years ago, Ray?
I don't think since 2012, I think was when we had I'm sorry.
Come on up.
Just trying to line everything
I
up.
think it's been 2% for the last,
Since, I think at least 2012,
Right.
because 2012 was when we had reductions in positions. And ever since then, it's been hard
2%.
coming back.
Yeah.
And it's only been the standard 2% by rule that the minimum required.
Do you,
Yes, sir.
There was also 2 years where the then mayor asked us to forego the 2% because of financial crunch.
Right.
There were 2 years that they didn't even get the 2%.
And then they got the 5 after that, or it was, I'm just asking.
The 5 came
The 5
in
came before that.
2008.
Okay. So that's proof to my point that you have to watch what you're doing and not go too crazy with it because you end up cutting people and cutting back. I mean,
Yeah.
the pendulum swings the other way. So it is,
Still have the floor?
Yeah, you still have the floor. I'm sorry.
So I think
I know I was looking at you.
that's right. I think if we're thinking, as the 2%, we know that it's mandatory and we have to accommodate civil service. But the 1%, I see where it's needed for civil service employees as the economy is in this position it's in, and everybody can use a little extra money. But at the same time, we need to look at our bottom line from a city's perspective and make sure that we can, we send them within our realms of financial stability. And I think it is currently, like the mayor said, I'll back him up on that. But, and hopefully later down the road we can do additional stuff as well. But we need to be open-minded with those numbers as well.
And I can tell you that it is hard to fill positions. We struggle to compete with other businesses, to compete with the private sector. That's why I'm always looking for a way to either change the job description or combine things to pay people more money, because it's tough. It is tough to fill our spots. We constantly have spots we need to fill. So it's not that it's not needed. I just like y'all to look at it open-eyed and understand that, if ever the pendulum has to swing the other way and I come back to you and say, these are the cuts I'm making, I'll have proof to show you why. But while we can, it's not a bad thing. I just, in the future, hope I can get a little earlier so I can work my numbers.
I agree with that.
Well, one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we ever do like market studies where we actually compare ourselves to cities of similar size to see if we're paying like market rate for those positions?
I have done that in the past.
Do you guys do it often? I mean, because that helps to retain employees if
We're
you
not
know that
bad
you're.
with other cities. We're just bad with private business, I mean, it's a different world,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's something we used to do in private industry all the time,
Yeah.
to retain our employees.
Right. And I'm not saying maybe we should look at that again, but I do know that, like I said, with the private sector, it's not as good. Now, our benefits are good.
Right.
When you have 14 paid holidays, when you have a retirement plan that while you're working here, that we pay the majority. Let me tell you, we pay a big portion of it. And when you look at a long-term employee that we've paid $250,000, $250,000 for their insurance, a very long-term employee, and they've paid $10,000. I mean, that counts. So
I mean,
we have
that- yeah.
benefits.
That's a benefits package.
It's
That
a
includes
great benefits
salary
package.
and all that.
Right.
So that's when you look at that and you compare it.
That's what
That's
gets
the whole
us-
package you
That's
want to
right. And
compare
what
to the
I
other
try
cities.
to tell people
Yeah.
is let's look at the whole package, because many other cities pay a lot more for their insurance, so that's money in your pocket.
Right.
And then I try to do comparisons of private business, because you don't get all of that, you pay your own.
Right.
And that's where we step up, and that's why people work for us. I don't ever want to make it sound like we're so cheap nobody wants to work for us, because when you look at the total package and the benefits, that's what helps us.
Right.
The retirement, the insurance, and the whole, put everything in, and the 14 paid holidays, and the sick leave, and the personal time, and the vacation time that you accrue, all of that counts to look at the total package, and then why would people work here?
Exactly.
But I often have to remind people of that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You brought up some great points with, competing against the private sector. Benefits, being involved, working for municipalities, they come with it. The pay is not the greatest, but you get
Still money in your pocket.
You get money in your pocket at the end of the deal. The biggest thing that sits on me, this is a year by year basis. So I believe we're in a position this year to do it this year. And another thing that, well, I agree with it. But another thing is fairness. I mean, so if we didn't agree to this, and the ones that like some of your department heads wouldn't get, then they wouldn't get that additional.
Right. This is the way I propose it is for everybody.
So-
Because how do you have people supervising, take the
Supervising and-
responsibility, taking all of the, the heat, and then they don't get it? That's not
Right. That's
just like
where-
how can
that's-
you single out a department or a part of your government and say, but y'all not getting it?
Right. Well,
I would never do that. I just don't think it's fair.
I just want to make that point clear. Just
Yeah,
fairness across the board.
I agree.
Thank you.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you saying that everybody's gonna get the 1%?
Yes, ma'am. The entire, I call them the company, but the whole company.
The whole company.
Yes, ma'am.
The whole team.
The whole team. Thank you.
But the way it's written, it seems like it's just the civil service people.
No, it's for everybody. And if I need to amend that, we can, because with the letter that I wrote, and I gave you all a copy of it, and the numbers that I figured, it's for everybody.
It says municipal classified employees.
Well,
And that's probably because this is where it started.
yeah,
was
it is.
from
It
us.
is. But I guess we'd have to do an amendment because I want it to be clear that it's for everybody.
Yeah.
For classified and unclassified.
And unclassified,
Right.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. So when we get to that point, if that's what you choose to do, we should amend that. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, sir.
Well, Freddie, I mean, our city is growing, right?
Yes, sir.
And therefore our workforce, the city is growing, so we need to,
We busy, so they busy.
we need to let our employees' pockets grow.
Not to mention, our people are our greatest resource.
Yes, ma'am. You're right, but hang on, he's got the
Okay.
floor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But you're right.
No, I was just gonna say,
you done?
let's grow the pocketbooks and the wallets of our employees as well,
Okay.
so they can be
I apologize.
motivated to continue working for us.
Yes, ma'am. I just kind of try to go,
Are
Yes,
say
ma'am.
if we can afford it, why not? You know, if your employees are happy, everyone's happy. And they do so much for us anyway, you know, they deserve it.
They
So
do, they do.
we got it, you know, let's give it.
I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
It is. I'd just like y'all to see the big picture that
Yeah,
maybe
no,
we
that's
can't
good.
do that every year.
Yeah,
You know what I
no,
mean?
we get that.
The big picture was clear.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I just also want to put it in, you know, our minds that we still need to do something about benefits for our retired people. It's good to get a raise while you're working and all, but it affects you a lot when your benefits are cut once you retire. And you don't have that good package that came along with your job anymore. Plus you're making less, and now you have to pay for your own insurance if you're not 65 years old. So I'm thinking in the future that we definitely want to think about that, doing some benefits for retirees who are not yet 65.
Thank you. Anybody else? Other remarks? Mr. Broussard, can you get it out?
Glad you're giving it to them, because of all people, I'll stop every once in a while. Y'all doing a fine job.
Yeah.
Both in my district. So I felt bad, man, if we didn't go pushing this 1%.
Right.
So I'm so glad right now. And still compliment what they're doing.
Yes,
So
sir.
in a good way, because they'd be shooting that right back at me.
Yes, sir, they would. Any other discussion? Then I would ask you to, yes, sir. We do need to amend it if we're going to vote on it. I just want to make sure I got everybody's words out. So what I'm going to need, if we're going in that direction,
I move to amend it to include unclassified employees also.
I second it.
okay, I have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Ledbetter and a second by Councilman Lewis. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing and seeing none, then I would ask you to vote your machines on that motion. Great, so now we have an amended motion, and we need to vote on that. So if there's no more discussion, do I have a motion? Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, I already got a second by Councilman Broussard. Any discussion? No discussion? Then I ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you very much. I want to thank the board again for all your work. And, you know, I mean, they're all volunteers, and the board does a really good job. And thank you for everything you do, Bonnie. And we'll keep plugging. I think we'll have some happy people. Good. Thank y'all. Madam Clerk?
Resolution 7D, Resolution 21-123, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the City of New Iberia and Iberia Parish Communications District to provide emergency fire call taking and dispatch services to the City of New Iberia.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Lewis and a second by Councilwoman Deidre. Is there any discussion on this item?
So I read through the agreement, and one thing that I didn't see is where we have like service level agreements for them to make sure the calls are dispatched in a certain amount of time. I mean, do we not like,
Oh, Gordon tracks all that. He couldn't be here tonight. Gordon tracks all of that. That is very important to our rating.
I know, but I'm saying it's not in the agreement to tell them they have to do it within a certain amount of, you know, because the parish is going to be doing this. It's not our people, so.
Right. In
We
which
want-
the parish has always done this. When we jumped, just to clarify, when we jumped, started the police department and did our own dispatch, the fire chief elected to stay with the parish. So they do the fire for us, but that's it. And so it's the same people who've always done it. And we've always, I think that the reason Gordon didn't jump was because as when it came to fire, they did it quickly, they met all the codes, we never had a problem with our rating, so that's why we are leaving it there, because they have performed in a timely manner.
So I get that, although I think that our contract should state what we think should be the minimum or the maximum amount of time, sorry, not minimum, maximum amount of time it should take for them to transfer the call to the fire department, because you never know. Somebody else takes over, service could slow down. I don't know. It just, I've never been comfortable with it not being spelled out in the agreement, because then we have nothing to fall back on if it starts taking them 5 minutes. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
It's a service level agreement. I mean, something like this
No,
where
it
they're
is, it
performing a
is.
service for us, we ought to have some sort of standard in place of what that service should look like.
and I'm perusing it real quick. I read it, but you bring up an interesting point. I swear I saw something in there about how they had to maintain.
Well, it just says significant benefit, let's see, to provide emergency fire call taking fire dispatch services in consideration of mutual covenants, commitments herein, mutual benefits here as they agree as a follow. And then it goes into the call handling, but it doesn't say we will deliver this service or this call will be transferred
In so much
in
time.
so many, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever that is. So, I mean, maybe Gordon could give us the average amount of time it takes, and we could add that to the contract just to make sure it's spelled out in case the service starts to slack. We actually have some sort of recourse.
It's gonna,
Okay, that's a good
And-
point. Okay, hang on.
And possibly get some credit for them not delivering the service, since we're paying a couple of grand a
If we
month.
don't deliver the service, we're in trouble because
No,
it's
I mean,
gonna
like,
change our rating.
not in the, yeah, so, again, just having a way to kind of incentivize them to do the
Track,
right thing,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Jeff, you had your hand up.
There is a 90-day out on this agreement. So if things aren't moving along like we want to, we can negotiate a better deal, or we can call them on the carpet, because we can
put-
terminate it on
If
90
you
days.
notice, every agreement we do, we try
Yeah.
to put it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because, in case of those things.
Right,
Yeah, so that gives us leverage.
okay.
Okay?
Just,
Yes,
just my 2 cents on you
Yeah.
putting the service level agreement
Love
in
it.
here.
Okay. Okay. Ricky?
I did read that they had a 90-day agreement, as well as I mentioned, like Jeff said, but also, if we alter this agreement, it has to go back to the parish council for approval before it gets back to us. So it's not just a short-term project, proposition here. We can't just amend it ourselves and vote on it tonight.
No,
That's
but
the way I understand it. We
I-
have to
I
send it
get
back
that.
to parish council.
But if we think it's important, then we
No,
put
I'm
it
just
in there.
saying, it's,
Yeah,
Right.
just for an amendment tonight, we would have to do it in 2 steps.
okay. I just wanted to point it out, just in case we wanted to look at it and make a decision. I'm not saying we have to do it, I just wanted to make sure
Well,
we thought
you
about
read
that.
6. This is what I read. Should either party default on this agreement, the party shall have 30 days from written notice to cure said default. Failure to cure said default within the time specified shall in facto terminate this agreement.
But what's
It still
default?
doesn't, I know,
So,
it still
'cause-
doesn't
yeah.
define
Doesn't say
what
what
we're
it is.
talking about.
Exactly, because we may not have a meeting of the minds
Yeah,
when it comes to that.
yeah.
I don't know how long it's going to take to amend it, if you want to amend it, but, I don't know when our old agreement runs out, but it's
That's what I'm
probably
worried
October
about.
31st.
It is. I feel like, but I don't want to discard your points. I feel like we need to do this agreement so they can put it in place. That doesn't mean, and I'm gonna acquiesce to my attorney, but that doesn't mean we can't clarify or do an amendment to it if we wanted to that added something else. But I am worried that if we don't do this agreement, because Gordon and I talked about it, and it is coming up, I don't want to leave us with no agreement and then a price goes up or something changes.
No,
So
I get
good
it.
business would be to lock up the agreement, but better business would be to think about what you just said and find a way to at least have a discussion with them, see if we couldn't add an amendment. Is that possible?
You could, and what you could do is you could do this agreement. You could do this agreement, and then you could come back to them and say, look,
We'd like to clarify that.
we're thinking about ending this thing in 90 days if we don't get, some different standards in here. So you can replace your agreement that way.
Okay.
You fine with that? I mean,
Yeah,
I just
I'm fine
think
with
that's
that.
a good compromise, and
Yeah, we're just
look,
trying to
I
figure
take
out-
any advice I get, and that's good advice. I mean, we
Right.
need to move on whatever we can,
Yeah.
All right,
I'm
anybody
fine with
else
that.
have any discussion? Then hearing none, I would ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dee, good point. Madam Clerk.
7E, Resolution 21-124, authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for professional services and approving selection of a demographer for reapportionment and redistricting services necessary as a result of the 2020 census data.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion. Councilman Lewis, do I have a second?
Second.
Councilwoman
Reed.
T.D. Reed. I'm sorry, I was thinking. Okay, what you have in front of you, I didn't do this the normal way, and that's what I was pausing for. I was trying to think of my words. We had two proposals. Two demographers came to us and offered their services. We have Mr. Mike Hefner at $12,900, almost $13,000, and we have Mr. Cedric Floyd at $15,000. So those are our two proposals. It is time to pick one so that we can begin to work with them and go through each district. It's a long, lengthy process to go through each district, to meet with all of you, to figure out how you are satisfied and we meet the rules and meet all the requirements. This has been a big topic. If you read the newspaper and follow what's happening, you know, this has affected our upcoming, this is important is what I'm getting at. This has affected our upcoming marshals race because 30 polling places are closed and people are moved to other polling places. That has been a real issue. We as a city are actually, our ads start 2 weeks before the election. We're doing radio ads and have things on Facebook to try to help people understand where they vote because that's the best thing we got going. Our whole system is voting on letting people vote and having fair and free elections. So this has been an issue, but it is time. I'm not piling on some other issue. It's just time for us because of the census to pick a person, a demographer, and get going on our own, adjustments we might need to make. So I'll open up the floor up if there's any questions or comments.
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hefner is working with Iberia Parish, with the Parish Council and the school board.
Yes, ma'am, he is.
He was also the one who engineered our current situation for our upcoming election where we have so many less polling precincts and polling sites, right now. I'm in a persuasion to not use somebody who basically pushed something through on the parish council and didn't give them a whole lot of time to understand what was going on. I don't think I would trust somebody like that. So I'm definitely not in favor of Mr. Hefner.
Okay, thank you.
I would have to agree with Councilwoman Ledbetter. There's been lots of issues that have come about because of this change that was made by the Parish Council. We have a lot of people that really don't know where they're supposed to go come November 13th. There are some civic organizations that are having to pull together to try and help these people find their polling locations, give them rides to the polls. And, they keep telling us, oh, well, we didn't think there was going to be an election. But, there are always amendments coming out of the legislative session. And so a lot of those amendments have to come to the people for a vote. So, have plan A, but what's plan B in case that happens? There was no plan B that we could all kind of understand. So now we're having to get private citizens to try and solve a problem of government. And so I'm not in favor of using him as well.
Okay, thank you. Any other remarks?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I have to agree too. I had some prominent polling places closed in my district. And for me and my constituents to use, somebody, and I don't know if it was ill intent. I don't think it was ill intent, but to have somebody's name attached to the city's doing it, because we're running around saying it wasn't our call. So
Yeah, well,
I think it
was
wasn't.
our call.
And it's true. It wasn't our call. So, I would like to see us use somebody else in the city.
And to be clear, I think the parish looked at it as a cost-saving measure, and I fully don't think they meant to cause the turmoil that it has. I think they thought there weren't any elections, so we'll do it, we'll save $30,000, and then the new census will come out, and we'll be fine. So I don't think there was any, ill intent, but it has caused some confusion, and that's why we, as a city, we're spending $6,000 to do radio ads and newspaper ads to tell people where to vote. I mean, so I'm conscious, that's why I brought it up from the beginning. I'm conscious that it did cause a problem. Like I said, I don't think it was intentional, but we want our people to vote, and we want them to know where they're going to vote, and that's one of the most precious rights we have as Americans. Anyway, yes, sir.
You brought up a good point. So the difference that we have between the two is $2,100. So is the turmoil, I don't know either one of the individuals personally, but seeing what the parish had to go through, the difference is $2,100. So are we willing to go through the turmoil and everything that they had to go through recently over $2,100? You just said we had to spend $6,000 on ads to go and try to,
Wanted to.
but
still,
to
we
help
are
the
spending.
citizens
Yes, sir.
of the city. So
Yes, sir.
we're spending money on top of that to kind of redirect and correct what was done, and not intentionally. I'm not sitting here saying it was intentional.
I don't think it was.
I agree with y'all on that, but so we're talking about $2,100. So I agree. I know there's times we got to be conservative, but in this case, I think we can make the right decision.
And I know
going with the
both
rest.
gentlemen did. Mr. Hefner did the census went out, because you don't do this once every 10 years. This is
Right.
our one shot. None of us will be here in 10 years. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not the position we're in. Who knows? But he did it back then when I was pro tem and wasn't hard to work with. I met Mr. Cedric Floyd and interviewed him, and I had a really good meeting with him, and I was impressed with him as well, just to tell you. So, anybody else have any comments? Yes, sir.
I think listening to the comments, I personally had an opportunity to work with Mr. Hefner on the parish council multiple times. I met Mr. Floyd and Mr. Freddie said, I think both of them are highly capable, but we almost understand that when you come from a democratic standpoint, there's a certain set of rules that are being followed. There's not a whole lot of deviation that they can come about. I mean, the districts are going to be drawn according to populations. I mean, you can move, left and right a little bit, but it's not going to be that big a difference. So I think they both highly capable of doing a great job in representing the city. $2,100, not a whole lot of money if you from a grand scheme of things. The passion, wearing on your collar about what happened to parish council, I don't think that's a good enough idea to select one over the other. I think it's mostly the parish council's mistake on their part. But I think change is sometimes necessary, and change is good. And a new vision when it comes to demography works out well. And I think either one's capable of doing a good job, but I like the idea of having a change and going a different direction. I really do.
Good. Yeah, I wouldn't bring you people that I didn't think could do it. Yes, Brooke.
I was
Councilwoman Morcott.
reading through Mr. Floyd's little write-up that he has in our agenda, and he has a lot of good references too. And if you met him, think he's good and capable, why not? Why not choose someone different, give him a chance? So many other cities have, it looks like, according to this write-up. So what are we supposed to do at this point?
Yeah.
Everyone just say that we
No,
nominate
we'll
someone?
vote on it. But
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll get the consensus, and then I'll say this seems to be the consensus, and
Gotcha.
I'll select and we'll vote on it. Yes or no? Yeah.
Okay.
Parish,
Broussard.
parish, for the last month or two, it has been upside down. Looked like somebody would have had some foresight into maybe some kind of election coming up. So I'm kind of leaning with the rest of them.
Okay.
So it's been a negative at the parish for so long.
Thank you. Well, this is what I wanted, that I got a discussion from everybody. So the consensus I'm hearing is that we would like to try something different and go with Mr. Floyd. So what I will need is a motion that someone will make for us to select him as our demographer, and then we'll go from there and vote.
Motion to
I
select.
have a motion to, as we said, to select Mr. Cedric Floyd. Okay, I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Lewis. Wait, what did I do wrong, Jeff?
No, so this is,
You have a motion on the floor.
yeah. Did
Oh,
we
we had
start
a
with a
motion
motion?
We had a motion to open it for discussion, but we didn't pick a person.
Yeah.
So I have to clarify some kind of way that we're picking a person. So what do I do with my motion I have open?
Well, why don't we amend the motion
All right.
to pick a person and authorize you to sign the papers?
Okay, there you go. I was taking the long way around. Cut the dog's tail off in one, not a piece at a time. Cut it off all at once.
Bert Sestia.
All right. You want to amend your motion, Marlo, to, as Jeff said, to amend the original motion and to select Mr. Floyd?
Select Mr.
Okay,
Floyd.
then I have a motion on the floor. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilwoman Dee Reed. And any discussion on this? Hearing, seeing none, then please vote your machines. Thank you all very much.
Okay, now you got an amended motion, right?
Yes, now I have to
Okay.
vote on the motion because now all we have is an amended motion.
Okay.
Okay, so now I need a motion to vote on our amended motion. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Marcotte. Is there any discussion on our amended motion to select Mr. Floyd? Hearing, seeing none, let it rip. Thank you very much. Good discussion.
Resolution 7F, Resolution 21-125, opposing the closure of any railroad crossings within the city of New Iberia.
Do I have a motion on this item?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Ledbetter and a second I heard by Councilman Broussard. Is there any discussion on this item? Councilman Broussard.
Get through this hoarseness. I want the people to be clear that the reason they're talking about closing crossings is the state has to pay the railroad on every crossing in this state. Every other state, the states have to pay these railroad crossings, 200 to 300,000 each. So Generate, they closed 3 and put 3 arms and lights up. We on the floor here, we don't want to close any. But that's why this question's coming up over and over. You know, the state wants to save the people money, but we finding out that it's going to be inconvenience to the city. So I want to clear that heavily, that the state is trying to save you money. But we don't see the reasoning for that, and that's why we're sending them a resolution that we don't want to close any of them. We already closed Lee and Prairie. They came down and did it themselves.
Yep.
Now they're talking about closing Caroline and Providence. But we're sending them a clear message that we don't want any of them closed. You know, but the big guy can come down and stomp his foot and say, let's close this and it's over. So this is one of our last shots for us to get the other arms. Iberia, Weeks, Julia, French, you know, Providence get arms there. So we can get them all up along the main drag. We got $5 million in 17 years. I've been pushing for this. So we have the money. But something's got to be done soon. We're just stating that we don't want to close any crossing in this parish. The parish itself says that too, the city. Hope the people are backing us up on this.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? We had a public hearing that was required, and we had probably 50 people there, I would say. And we gave every single person in the room an opportunity to speak, and they all did, and they all said they didn't want to close it, any of them. Our parish president attended. It was a city town hall. Our parish president attended. He didn't want to close it either. So we thought by doing this, we would send. We did this in my last term, if you remember, because it's the same issue. That's how long this has been going on. We told them then we didn't want to close them. We are doing it again just to send it clear. They got a message at the town hall meeting for whatever. Hopefully that will do some good, and people put in written comments that said the same thing. And we thought that we should do this, as Deidre and I talked about it, because one of the crossings is in her district. And so we thought we should put this on the agenda and send them another formal from this new council saying we don't want to, close any crossings. We do want the arms and lights, though, because that's the danger, and that's, people have had incidents with trains in our community. So it's important to get those crossings on, but we wanted to send a clear message. So if there's no other discussion,
I just have
yes, ma'am.
a comment.
Sure.
At that meeting, in my comments that I did turn in, they said, those people who were present, they said that they would answer the questions. So far, I haven't gotten an answer to my question, and I don't think Mr. Templeton has gotten answers to his questions either. But that was one of the things that they said they would do at the meeting. My question was, if you close Caroline Street, are you going to, is the railroad or DOTD going to pay to widen Glen Street? Because it is not wide enough for larger vehicles.
It's not wide enough for two cars to pass. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I went look at that.
It's
not.
really, really small. So, I mean, that's an inconvenience, and that would cost the city money to close, that particular crossing of widening the street. So, if they want to close it, let them widen the street. So that was my question. Are you going to widen the street because that's where the traffic is going to flow to?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And I will tell you that if anybody ever had to ride up on Lee Street where it's closed, it is so difficult to get to where you're going when you ride down Lee Street because of them closing that railroad crossing. It is very, very difficult. We cannot have another situation like that because if an emergency vehicle got in that area, they're going to have trouble getting out of there to get across the track to take someone to the hospital. It's that bad.
Yes, ma'am. Somebody else? Yes, sir.
Just a question, just I guess for some clarity. So the railroad and the state are proposing to close these, or just the railroad?
No, it's kind of it's a DOTD thing. It's and look, this project upgrades the railroad in the area they call the trough, and it does some work on the railroad. I don't care about that part of the project. That's the railroad doing maintenance, in my personal opinion. That's the railroad fixing railroad issues. I don't have anything to do with us. It doesn't help or hurt my citizens because the train runs through town, it don't stop here, and it's hauling something. So it's for the railroad, which is the big 900-pound gorilla in the room, because they have right-of-ways and we have no strings on them. I care about getting the crossings, because those help us. But, that's
I gotta agree. My daughter's grandmother lived on Lee Street.
Oh, then
So
you
I gotta go
know.
all the way
Yeah,
to
you do.
Lewis Street to come.
It's a mess.
It is.
And we don't need that on Caroline for sure because, the people that live in that area, a lot of elderly and,
Nursing home,
Nursing
rehab.
homes.
I mean, we have a lot of
yeah, that would be a mess.
Anybody else? Well, I think we're sending a clear message. I think the citizens know we don't want this because these are the people we represent. Again, how much clout we have against the railroad, well, that remains to be seen. But I think we doing our due diligence and making every effort by sending them, another message. So, if everybody's good, I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you. I'll get it out.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for putting this on.
No, it's important. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 21-126, approving contract for professional services between the City of New Iberia and Staples Engineering and Consulting, LLC, for sidewalk construction along Dale Street to connect Bank Avenue and Jefferson Parish Boulevard.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Councilwoman Deidre Johnson-Reed, and a second, I think, by Councilwoman Ledbetter. Do we have any discussion on this item? And remember, this is our $100,000 that each council person got, and 3 council members have teamed their money up to put these sidewalks in. It's not enough to do them all, but we'll figure out. That's the other reason we're hiring an engineer. We couldn't do it. It was too much to do through Public Works. So we're hiring an engineer to get this moving, and he'll be able to give us a total budget and kind of fix our pitfalls where we have crossing and utility areas and just things we have to deal with. But Joe did the research, and we do have right-of-ways. So this will get this moving, and then we'll know, and I will be coming back to the whole council. This is important for the whole town. They've each put up $50,000. I know it won't be enough. So we will be asking, the rest of the council to come up with the rest of it because that connector in our community is very important.
Absolutely.
I am looking to see if the ARP money, American Rescue Plan, might be able to pay for some of it. We're not positive. Erin's actually, our clerk is out this week at a clerk convention, and that is one thing that she is attending is some American Rescue Plan workshops to try to figure out how creative we can get with that money. But to me, this is a very worthwhile project to unite and, unify our community and give us some really good connector on a very busy street that is a main thoroughfare of our town. So.
And I would say that
Yes, ma'am.
it will also probably be a safety issue because there's so many people that walk up and down
Great.
Dale Street, women pushing babies in strollers, and people are, not to talk about the speeding issue, but
Yes,
people
ma'am.
drive really fast down there.
Let's stay on the sidewalk.
Yeah. So this is going to be a really big deal, and I hope that the citizens that walk down that street will feel much safer after we get these sidewalks in there. So thank you for getting this done, because I know Deidre and I, we both live in that area, and we talked about that needs to be done, even for the kids just being able to walk down that street, walk to senior high. I mean, it's just going to make all the difference in the world. So thank you to everyone on the council.
Okay. Any further? Yes, ma'am.
Speaking of Dale Street, how expensive is it to paint lines on that road?
Yeah,
Well-
thank you, Brooke.
As a city, don't do any striping. We hire people to do that. We don't have striping equipment, and we really don't want the liability. No, I don't think they would, but if something is striped wrong and then there's a wreck, well, then we have some liability as a city because we put those lines. I can tell you that after our road program is coming, we've approved it. I can't say it enough. We're spending $12.5 million to fix our roads. We had to get our finances straight first. It took 5 years to get our finances to a point that I could have an A rating and that we could do a 2% bond, which you got a great rate. And that's happening. I mean, the engineers are working on the drawing. I tell people this, and then the next day on Facebook, they all jamming me about the roads. But I mean, I'm going as fast as I can, and we are making it happen. Our road program will begin in probably March, but it's all in the works. With that, I realize that we're going to have to do a lot of striping, okay, because some of it is included in the road repair program, some of it isn't. So I'm looking into getting prices. I don't have a general price. The engineers helped me with this. We've talked about it. To just give me some kind of per block or per mile or some kind of price, because I can tell you that I see a lot of areas that we need to upgrade our striping. That's for sure. My main concentration was to get the road program started. And like I said, people don't realize you want to buy a car, you got to sell your other car, you got to get your finances straight. You want to buy a new house, you got to do something with your other house. You got to get your finances straight. It has taken us this long to get to the point that we could get an A rating and that we could borrow. It's sad, and I've got an idea to fix this, that you do a road program and then you wait 10 years, 12 years to do another one. But the position the city's been in, it borrows money, it has to pay that money back, it can't afford to do more roads. I have some ideas that I'll be bringing probably in a year that would give us a continuous road program, because that's really what we need.
Yes.
But anyway, as far as for your point to striping, I'm looking into that because I think you're not wrong about Dale Street, but we have quite a few streets that it is time to upgrade our striping.
Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, sure. That's what we do.
So just FYI, Brooke, the parish council just got a state-of-the-art striping machine in this week. So they will be striping old roads and we're getting new roads, right?
Yes.
So remember that. So,
You're right.
so
They have the liability for striping
that's
the
right.
old
That's
roads.
right. That's right. So,
Maybe we can contract with them.
Depends on how you look at it. Yeah, then we'll pass that liability on to them.
yeah, so
Thanks.
Depends on how you
just
look at
a hint. Parish council does have a striping machine came in this week.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That's good to know.
That's good to know. Anybody else? Any other comments? Then I would ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you. Shannon, that's something you get on pretty quick? Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, next item.
Resolution 21-127, authorizing the mayor to negotiate and execute contracts for professional services on projects allocated from the CARES Act funds to individual districts.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by the Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, second by Councilman Swear, and let me explain what this is. Of our many $100,000 projects, I'm trying to get them moving. I would like to hire professionals where I see needed so that we can get these things out to bid and get them moving. We're going to do it on each individual little project, and there's a reason for that. Anything that we do, because some of these we might be able, I want to rule out the fact that we might be able to match some of these with ARP money. Well, ARP money, no matter if it's $1,000 or it's $1 million, you have to sign a contract for each particular thing. So we are backing up on this CARES Act. This is money that each council member was given $100,000, didn't have a lot of strings. This is to get those projects finished, but we're going to be issuing little bitty contracts. Some are 1,000, some might be 5,000, but they're not huge amounts of money. But this way I could blanket, negotiate those, get these bids out, and get these projects moving, because I don't want to, one, be stale. We got to be constantly doing things. Our people have to see how hard y'all really do work. Number two, I would like to get these knocked out as we're beginning to spend the ARP money, just because we have a lot of opportunity ahead of us. I want to keep moving. So that's what this is. This will allow me to get those small projects and get them out to bid.
So will you bring them back to the council, or will you just handle it?
No, for these little ones,
Yeah.
I will just basically, from the money that some people have spent, some of their $100,000, for that $100,000 pot of money that each council person got, this would allow me to move on those without bringing every little bitty one back.
Okay,
And it's only for this. In other words,
Right.
The ARP stuff, I'll be bringing each one at a time. If we see that we could group 2 or 3 together, I don't even want to give an example because I'm not sure what they're going to approve yet. But as a big dream, let's just say they said I could do some sidewalks in certain areas. Well, then I might combine all the sidewalk projects and say, hey, will y'all let me negotiate the sidewalk projects? But that'll all be, brought to you as everything is.
right.
Anybody else? Any other comments or questions?
So
Yes,
just
ma'am.
for me,
Yes, ma'am.
speaking for myself, can you just let me know when you're like doing one of mine so I can let my people know
ma'am.
that
Well,
one of mine's moving
what's-
forward?
What's going to happen really soon, and I've been developing the format, we've discussed this before, as these projects kick off and all these other projects come, I'm going to be coming with project updates. I'm going to have a little section at the end of the meeting where I say, all right, y'all want to hear what's going on? And I will just regurgitate everything that's moving and, not moving, and if they're not moving, why they're not moving. But yes, I can do that. That's not a problem.
Thank you.
Because y'all all need to, like I said, people don't realize, I see, we are a team, and I see how hard this council works, and I see you in your districts, and I meet you on the street, and we figure out things. I don't think people always see that. And I don't think they see the decisions and the level that all of you, of the commitment you have. So I think it's a good thing to talk about what we do.
Okay. Excellent.
Anybody else? Then, if you don't mind, please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 21-128, awarding 6-month and annual bids for cleaning and maintenance supplies.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Broussard, second by Councilman Swear, I think. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing seen none?
So, well, I did have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
please, right? So on one of these supply lists, I'm sorry, I had it highlighted somewhere. Okay. It's not like it's apples to apples. But like we pick, on the cleaning and maintenance supplies, like the single on one is like the first one, 12 out of 350. And then on the other one is 12 and 800. So do we like try to do a formula to balance that out to know which one actually really is the cheapest?
Rachel works on that, and they figure out, like, some things that doesn't, but some things have delivery charge, some things have other, and she sits there and works through these to make sure we get the best.
Okay, because, I mean, just looking at the case price, it's obviously a big difference between the two, but then you look at what you're getting.
Right.
Is-
Right. And
yeah,
then
so I
they
just
check
wanted to make sure.
quantities, they check, 'cause
Exactly.
sometimes it's not the same packaging.
Right.
So then you think you're getting a deal, and next thing you know, you get it in, it's like, wait a minute, that's less
Okay.
product.
All right,
But
I just
yes.
wanted to ask that question.
That's a good question.
Okay.
Well, then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Okay, next item, Mayor. Mayor. Next item, clerk. Long meeting, man. We're gonna be worn out by the time this is done.
Resolution 21-135, authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement between the City of New Iberia and architect Paul Allen for professional services on the interior modifications to the 911 building project.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem
Second.
Gonsalas, second by Councilwoman Ledbetter. This item is, our contractor is working on the front building. The roof is now complete. He had some interior renovations to do, and we are going to get a better deal and have negotiated, or will, some pricing. We've already got some budgets And I think our cheapest route is not to get another contractor, not to have pay mobilization, not to pay all kind of upfront costs, and just negotiate with the contractor who's on site to finish the interior renovations. And what this is where we're making a city training center. The PD has put up $70,000 of its CARES Act money, and the fire department has graciously given $20,000 of its CARES Act money, because every department will use this. This gives us a training center that allows us to do all of our, from insurance training to different types of equipment we buy to anything we do. It will allow us to do all of that right there where the old 911 facility was. So we are asking permission to negotiate and do a change order and let that contractor finish, because the other problem I'm seeing is it's getting harder and harder with the amount of work that's out there, with the amount of storm damage, with the ARPA money coming. It's getting harder and harder to get contractors to bid. So while we have one that we can negotiate with, I just feel we should. So that's an explanation of what we do. Comments, questions?
Was this in the packet? Because I don't remember seeing that.
No, it wasn't. I added
Okay.
it in because I realized that the time I needed to. It was supposed to be in the packet, and so we added it.
Okay, all right. I just didn't know. Okay.
Should be highlighted in the new agenda. That's what I said.
Yeah, it is. It says amended to include. But
On the amended agenda, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
This
Erin
one.
is at the clerk school, so that's why Jane is doing a great job filling in. But we were, if you remember, the package got delivered very late on Friday because we were cramming to get everything in, and it just got left out.
Okay.
These big agendas are tough.
I was confused because my 6A said something else. That's okay. I'm good.
8A,
In our folders,
sir?
or both of rainproof one, they were in front of my house. I got it the next day after our good rain.
Uh-oh, I don't know who delivered yours. It wasn't me.
It's all right.
All right. Jimmy normally delivers them, but Jimmy was
I'm
off
glad.
on Friday, so we all picked some up.
Be
so.
glad which other.
All right. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing, seeing, none? Everybody good?
Yes.
I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. All right, now we move to property standards. Ready, Jane?
Yes.
Or I say if I'm ready again?
Public hearing and action, resolution number 21-129 on state of buildings located at 205 Hortense. District 6, per resolution 21-71, as noticed and advertised on October 8, 2021.
Do I have a motion to open our public hearing?
Motion.
Motion,
Second.
Councilman Swear and Councilwoman Ledbetter. Is anyone here comment on this property? Have you pulled it up yet?
Yeah.
Anybody here to comment on this property? Hearing and seeing none? I need a motion to close our public hearing.
So moved.
Councilwoman Tita Johnson-Reed, and who had the second?
Ricky.
Okay. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalves. Thank you very much. Next item, Madam Clerk.
I have a question. So we're not taking action.
These are just a public hearing, and then
That was the
after.
action next on that one.
not
Oh,
what you-
you're right.
that's
I'm
not what you
sorry.
told me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Put it on my yellow
Go
sheet.
ahead,
I'm
Jim.
confused.
Put it on my yellow sheet.
If y'all
I'm
remember,
moving too fast.
when we did the last demolitions, the whole last 16, this trailer had a bunch of issues.
Yeah.
It's over 2 properties and everything. That's why we brought it back. Everybody, as far as I know, has been served. I haven't heard from anybody.
You know, we have 2 different landowners, and then somebody else owns the mobile home.
Right.
All right. Yes, sir.
Okay, so kind of take it up to speed a little bit. Last council that was here, the gentleman that came before the council, I believe his name was Stokes. I don't know. So he said he was gonna do the repairs to the mobile home, and then all of a sudden it came to about that he didn't actually own it, and it was sitting on two pieces of property, and so we've been dealing with this one for quite some time.
We have.
No one's here to address it. The neighbors are pleading to get it out of there. So, I mean, I'm gonna sit here and say I want to make a motion to go with number one. I mean, we've been sitting on this one for quite some time, and I think it needs to go.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Swear to demo, and I have a second from Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Any other discussion on this one? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Madam Clerk, slow me down when you got to.
Public hearing and action, resolution number 21-130 on the state of buildings located at 238 Johnson Alley, District 6, for resolution 21-72 as noticed and advertised on October 8th, 2021.
Do you have a motion to open our public hearing?
Move.
Councilwoman Swear, and who was the second? Councilwoman Deidre Johnson-Reed. Is there anyone here to speak on this property? Hearing and seeing no one, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Move.
Councilman Swear, Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Okay, action. Yes, sir.
Would you like to give us a little brief update on this property?
I haven't heard from anybody.
Okay, so
Electricity was disconnected on 9/16 of 2020.
It's too much.
The house needs a bunch of repairs. The sills are rotten.
So it's been over a year since they've had electricity to the property.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the property that's directly across the street from the park. So my, I guess, dilemma with this property, you got the people that are doing a great job fixing up the park area. We just discussed it earlier. We just voted to get some property. We're going to be building a pavilion. There's a lot of things to be done around there, so we need to make the push to clean the area up. This is another property that was actually, I've been getting a lot of calls on it. So have anybody responded back to you as far as when you sent the certified mail? So there's no responses?
I got the cards back. One letter went to the state of Louisiana for child support. And that's the only one I have.
Okay, well, I'm going to make a motion for number one because I just don't see it being resolved, and I think it needs to come down as well.
I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Swear to demolish, and I have a second by Councilman Lewis. Any other discussion on this item? Then I would ask you, please, to vote your machines. Thank you. All right.
Public hearing and action, resolution number 21-131 on the state of buildings located at 1004 Park Avenue, District 4, per resolution 21-73, as noticed and advertised on October 8th, 2021.
I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion to open.
Motion by Councilwoman Ledbetter. I now need a second. Councilwoman Deidre Johnson-Reed. Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak on this property?
Yeah. Again,
Yes, sir.
what's wrong with that thing? Who's the council?
I am.
What's wrong with that?
What's right with it?
Tell me what's wrong. It's all cypress wood. That piece of wood, that's all that needs to be there and needs to be painted. Show me what's wrong with that building. That can make somebody a beautiful home if you keep the criminals away from. This is not the house. This is the back of the garage. The garage is gonna go there. That's what we're looking at. That's not even part of that house.
That's the garage.
It's not a garage anymore. That's the only piece that is missing, and I have a feeling you pulled it. Because that's what you do to my houses. You know, what's wrong with that? This is wood that I'm supposed to work on that house. If you give me your royal permission. That is cypress wood. There is no termite in that house. That house is gorgeous if it's been painted and fixed. don't need even that much space. It can make somebody a beautiful home. But because the owner, owns it, that's where you look at it.
Two, yeah. Okay, we have some questions. If you don't, I'll go in order.
Jimmy, when's the last time we had power to this facility?
It hasn't had power for quite a while because Clico couldn't pull it up in their system.
So it hasn't had power.
No.
Would you please ask him why?
I don't think it's.
No, you need to ask him why.
I don't know why.
Because he refused to let Clico do that.
Okay. No power for several years. Okay, that's my answer to my question.
Okay.
So I
Councilwoman
was
Reed.
just going to ask a similar question, just how long has the house been in that condition in that particular neighborhood? Because I suspect the neighbors are probably the ones who are requesting that it comes down. So just how long has it been like that in that condition? I don't know how long you've owned it, but I'm just
I own
asking.
that, since I own that house, I'm sorry, I'm talking like this, my teeth are not here. Y'all don't see the destruction throughout the city? Glass broken, busted windows, busted doors.
Well, how long have you owned the property?
I've been having a long time ago, but he refuses to give us permission. Last time you asked him if we apply for a permit, I did apply for a permit, and we got a permit, but the permit expired, and he told you, no, we never did on that house that Mr. Insurance brought.
Have you applied for a permit on this house?
What they use? We've been applying for permits on all kind of houses. I probably did, and he refused. I was hoping last time, all of you, when he said that if I have to get the permit, I have to get an appraiser, I have to get an electrician, a plumber, and a general contractor to give us a price. Why would be two sets of permits for the Malahmi family or for everybody else? I guarantee you, if David Broussard go tomorrow to get a permit on one of his houses, he will have that permit immediately. He will not have to go and get an appraiser, and a plumber, and an electrician. He doesn't have to go through all that. Did any one of you ask him that question? There are two sets of rules. One for thank you for the water anyway. Last time I should have thanked you for it. I think you're going to make a good councilwoman. Why don't y'all turn around and look into building, helping people build their homes, instead of demolish.
Yes, Jeff.
That day the mayor said, I have enough money, too much money left over, why don't we just put it in to demolish? And this man here would love to see half of the town demolished, especially me and my children,
Jeff.
So what does the inspection report say about the condition and what makes it dangerous?
Well, the carport on the back is falling down.
Okay, we'll take
The
it out.
sills are rotten. Nope, wrong house. See, all that's falling down. It's busted up. I wouldn't walk underneath. There's no electricity. The house would have to be rewired. The plumbing would probably have to be redone. And then you look inside. But from the condition on the outside, it would have to be redone. The windows are all broken. Would all have to be redone.
Who took the door?
I have no idea.
You sure it's not one of your agents?
Any other comments or
He
questions?
said he does not go inside the houses. How do you know the plumbing and the electrical is not good? You said I do not go inside houses. How do you know the stuff is not good? Answer the question.
Okay, the toilet's on the back porch.
What?
Keep going. One more page. One more. Oh, yeah. There's the toilet.
Man, the toilet, that's another toilet.
So Jimmy.
Yeah, wait. One, you already spoke. I'm trying to
That's
keep
fine.
simple.
I'm good.
I'll get you after.
I just have a
Yes, sir.
question, Jimmy.
Everybody gets a turn.
If I heard you correctly, Dr. Dell, did he say he gave you a permit at one time and it expired?
Yes,
Okay, so
I see how I do. I'm a smart
so
man.
why? So my question is why wasn't anything done while the permit was given, and then now it's expired and we're back on?
Availability of the people. I have a bunch
Not
of
on that one.
houses.
Not on that.
So that was a different house we're talking about, not this one.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well,
Okay. Any other comments,
So
questions? Yes, sir.
that was my question. I want to know if a permit was ever, if a permit was never requested, then there's no intent to improve the facility.
Exactly.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking, unless I'm wrong.
no.
Question to you and the mayor. How many houses that is in this category, in this town? How many houses in this town? About half of the town? Old houses like this? Why can't you apply the rules to every one of them? Say, every one of them has a house like Dr. Adil and his family. We need to bring you all over here and get a permit from the king here, and let's go ahead and fix everything. Instead of bringing my stuff from Mr. Broussard and Miss Ledbetter, ma'am, I went home, I was really in tears. Because I'm expecting all this stuff from him. Trump is gone. But from you, to do what you're doing, to bring in my stuff to this, that hurts me the most. Because I was expecting you to be the minority to defend the minority.
That has nothing to do with it.
Yes, it is.
No, it
And
doesn't.
thanks to some of the minorities that they stayed quiet in this argument.
My thing is, Dr. Dale, you have not just this property, but a bunch of properties, and it seems like they all look like this.
Exactly.
And you're not doing anything with them.
How can I do, if I do this here, I can show you 906.
The only way you're going to get a permit is you're going to have some licensed people give you bids, and they go and get the permit, not you.
That's what I've been doing. I've been sending my workers undercover to go and get a permit from him so I can work on my house.
Undercover.
That's what I do. What's wrong with undercover? You go under the cover. I thought you were my friend, man. You said you're going to fight for us.
Dr. Dale,
Okay,
nobody can go under the cover because they have to give an address, and they know it's your address,
I know.
and you own the house.
Don't
So don't
mention
say
my name
that that's not the truth.
Okay,
You know.
let's stick to the issue, and which we're all trying to do.
We all finished the comments?
Just quit the
May I-
election people.
Can I ask a question?
You have another question? Yes, ma'am, you
Yeah,
may.
Dr. Adele,
Yeah.
what are you prepared to do with this house?
I really would like to paint it, but that piece that he knocked out, paint it, you know, and you know, protect, put a gate, so nobody, and take this side. That piece that he's talking about, we take it out.
So are you ready or prepared to put it in the conditions that someone could actually move into it?
Not now. I would put it in a condition where it'd be safe, nobody going in. You see?
Okay,
I need the door. There was a door on that house. Go to 906 French and see, I fixed up a house. Somebody went to the windows and got all the windows, got all the stuff from inside. The bathtub even is gone.
well,
You need to protect us before you ask us to do anything.
Yeah.
well, okay, one more question. So when do you think you would be able to put this house in a condition where someone,
If you
because
get a permit, I'll find something.
Because the problem is that it's not Jimmy that's complaining. There are people that live in that community are asking for that house to be removed because it's an eyesore and it's reducing the value of their properties.
I talked to my neighbors, they're not bothered with that.
That I think,
Then do a motion for action.
I know, but you do realize that they could not be telling you that they're also complaining to the city.
Ma'am, when the councilmen go to the people, say, hey, I need you to complain about Dr. Adele and his family, and I know the people will come and testify that this councilman goes and asks him to complain. He goes and asks complain. He put a note on a house on Dale Street. He said, Dr. Adele's in the hospital. They asked him, why you do that? He said, because we know him in the hospital and he's not going to get the note. He told him that. I'll bring him here to the council.
Dr. Adele, with this particular property, this is my district, and I rode around my district and looked at properties that were dilapidated.
It's not dilapidated.
It wasn't that I knew it was your property. I had a list of properties that needed to come down. This happens to be one of it.
How about
It's not about you. Believe me, it's not about you. It's about cleaning up our town.
Come with me with a sledgehammer and watch me doing sledgehammer to that house and see if that house will come down. That's not definitive, whatever. I need some water now.
We got any?
She got some.
Okay, Jane just informed me that I didn't close the public hearing.
No, it was still discussion.
Let's do a discussion. Okay, that's fine. We're not to that point yet. I didn't skip it, we just didn't get
No,
there
we
yet.
just didn't get there yet.
Yeah. Is there any other, I guess Dr. Dell is done? So now I need a motion to close our public hearing.
Motion to close.
Motion by Councilwoman Ledbetter, second by Councilwoman Dee Dee Johnson-Reed. So now our public hearing is closed, and
I want to make a
Now we'll talk about
motion
action.
for action that we go with option number 1 to demolish.
I have a motion on the floor to demolish. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. So I have a motion and a second to demolish this property.
Who's the second? You?
I'll second.
Do we have any discussion on this motion? No discussion.
So
Yes, ma'am.
I guess I'm just, Dr. Adele, I'm listening for a plan. I'm not hearing a plan. I mean, it's hard to vote with you when you don't have a plan, and there are people that actually are asking this thing to be torn down. So it's just, you're not giving us a whole lot of,
Options.
yeah, there's not a lot of options.
Can you ask me a question? You tell me what option I have, he would not allow us to work on the houses, then he bring it here. He told you last time, he never told my wife that he can go in. You told her, and here she is. He said, I can go into your closet. He didn't say the bedroom. But where is the bedroom? In, you know. Well, how can I go work on the house and paint the house and all that? If I bought the house, how am I gonna go in?
We need to vote.
How can I go into to paint?
We need to vote.
To fix?
Yeah.
We need to vote.
Yeah. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, the issue that I see, is that you, last council meeting and this council meeting, you've overly stated that you're not willing to go get a permit. You're not willing to go get an appraisal.
He is putting-
Hey, wait, I'm talking.
Okay.
I'm talking, all right? You're not willing to go get a permit. You're not willing to go get an appraisal. Well, the codes in the city are, that's what's required of you if you want to repair a house. And you
Why
keep,
is
wait,
me?
wait. You keep repeating it that you're not willing to do it. So you leaving us no option of what to do. If you're not willing to go get it,
Why there is two sets of rules? If me going there, I have to have an appraisal and I have to expenses. But if Marlo goes over there, he will get that
okay,
permit to me.
all right, that's fine, Doc. Jeff, do we have two sets of rules in the city?
No,
We don't have two sets of rules.
and we have a long list of people that we brought before this council. It's not just Dr. Adele.
I didn't,
And it all starts with the inspection report, and that's what we ought to focus on. What makes this unsafe? What needs to be done? Is there a way to get it done? Is someone willing to do it?
I guess I could too. Huh? Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion?
Well, one thing he said we need to focus on. Why y'all focusing on my property and my family's property? So we have to go under that focus he's talking about.
Like I said, Dr. Adele, it wasn't about your property.
Yes, it is.
I put it on the list. I didn't know it was your property. I didn't know whose property it was. We each wrote our districts and looked at properties that needed some assistance demolishing,
Why do you want to demolish a beautiful home?
because it's not a beautiful home. It is not a beautiful
Go
home.
look inside.
I don't know what you're looking at. That's not what I see. And that's not what people around there see every day that live there either.
Come with me, I'll show it to you. You know?
It's time for the question.
Okay. So we have, to make sure I did it right, we have a motion on the floor, and we have a second, and you're asking to demolish, and that's been seconded. Okay, well then I would ask you to vote your machines. Thank you. Madam Clerk, next issue.
Okay.
Public hearing and action, resolution number 21-132.
No, it's a different
No,
one.
it's different. I know.
Resolution number 21-132 on the state of buildings located at 1204 Park Avenue, District 4. Resolution 27-74 as noticed and advertised on October 8th, 2024.
I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion to open.
Councilwoman Ledbetter, I need a second. Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. Is there anyone here to speak on this property? Yes, ma'am.
Against, or is it just for?
I think you can either way. Come on up. I don't think I ever had that happen.
My sister lives next door to this house. It burned in January of 2020. For a year, it sat just awful with grass, long grass, and rats and everything else. A couple of months ago, the guy started working on it, trying to get it down. But I urge you to demolish it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is anybody else here to speak on that property? Okay, then I need a motion to close our public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
Councilman Ledbetter, Councilman Swear. Thank y'all. And now we move to action. Yes, ma'am.
I so move that we do option 1, demolish.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor for option 1, which is demo. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilwoman Marcotte. Is there any discussion on this action item? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you. Madam Clerk, next property.
Public hearing and action, resolution number 21-133 on the state of buildings located at 315 St. Jude Street. Right there. There you go.
Okay.
District 5, per resolution 21-76, as noticed and advertised on October 8th, 2021.
I need a motion to open our public hearing on this property.
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Is there anyone here to represent this property? Nope. Then I need a motion to close our public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed and Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Thank you. Now we move to action. Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we actually do number 1 and we demolish this particular property.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to demolish. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Swear. Is there any discussion on this demolition motion? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you. Next property, Madam Clerk.
Public hearing and action, resolution number 21-134 on the state of buildings located at 318 Week Street, District 5, per resolution 21-77, as noticed and advertised on October 8, 2021.
I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman DeeDee
Second.
Johnson-Reed and a second by Councilwoman Ledbetter. Is there anyone here to speak on this property? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is it. We're on 318 Weeks.
318 Week Street.
Yes, ma'am. Jimmy, what, give me the issues first and then we'll let her speak on it.
Another one, it's a substantial improvement. I'll need to know the cost of the house, the appraisal, so I can tell her. Yep, that was from the assessor's office. All it shows is $1,000, and I mean, the house had me, you
He
know,
asked me to get the paper from the assessor's office, so I got it.
that's what she paid for, the $1,000. So it's a substantial improvement in my mind. The sill there is sitting on the ground.
No, it's not on the ground, it's above the ground. And I
Hang on,
have
let
it-
him just finish and then
The ground
I'll
is-
give you,
The
yes, ma'am.
ground is against it. On the inside, it might be down, but on the outside, the ground's against it. It's rotting. So, the roof needs to be reattached or whatever. The rotten wood needs to be taken out. The back area, all the black on the probably old, it needs to be restructured or taken down. The hot water tank. There's a hot water tank right there.
That somebody put it there.
That's a propane tank.
Well, a propane tank, but it needs to, it's a substantial improvement. I'll need a scope of work. That's it. I'll need a scope of work to know what they're gonna do before I can issue a permit. And I haven't gotten the scope of work yet.
That's the roof?
That's the back roof. Yes, it is. That's part of the house. That's the back.
Section roof, there's a pitch and then there's a flat roof.
They added a pitch over a flat roof.
They added on to it. Back in the day, that house is older than.
Okay, hold on. See what on the right side of the picture? That's where they added that section that the other picture was.
Okay.
Okay.
The flat roof.
Jimmy, does the house have electricity in it? I mean, it's,
No. Glico could not pull it up. That's another one that's been off for years.
I bought it as an old house. I love old houses. I love to see the before and after. I can turn it to a mansion. I know myself. I have vision. I love that. That's my baby girl, because it's spring I call my baby girl. However, I'm working on that roof is talking about the whole, that's the tree there. And we're trying to cut it, but they said to cut it, we have to get a permit. And I went there, Mr.
The tree? I don't have anything on trees. I don't have anything.
I went to get the permit, I went 3 times. They can tell you, I went 3 times. I was
I told
rejected
you.
each time.
I told you to get a permit, I needed a scope of work and to know what you were doing. That I haven't gotten.
Yeah, but you told me to wait until the city meeting today.
Yeah.
So we can see. However, I want to work on the house. I have everything for the house. I have plywood. I have plan for it. I have plywood. I have all kind of wood, 2x4, 2x6 beams, everything. Sheetrock, kitchen, a whole kitchen cabinet. Mr. Elvis can tell you, you know. I have everything to work on the house. All what I need, the permit. I have the electrician. He came up to the house and he looked at it.
Who is it? What electrician?
I don't know how his name is.
60
He's
with a 60 like we did mine.
Who's the electrician?
They don't want to answer the question. They don't want to answer the question.
I have a question.
Okay, one at a time, we'll,
his name, but I haven't looked on my phone if you want to.
I'll get you.
That's not on the sheet.
Okay. Yes, Brooke?
Mr. Jimmy, is anyone in the office with you whenever someone goes to apply for a permit? Okay, so, because I keep hearing conflicting stories, like the client saying one thing and then you're saying something else. So it'd be good to have
She came in.
a witness.
When she came in, I told her it was gonna be a substantial improvement. She had to bring everything up to code.
One at a time.
I told her I would meet her there at 10 o'clock that morning. She said she couldn't make it. I turned around and told her Tuesday morning I'd be there at 8 o'clock.
And I was there.
I met her there Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock. I showed her all the things that needed to be redone, the rewiring, the plumbing, all of that. They had to have state licensed contractors. The carpenter work has to be somebody that knows what they're doing. But I needed a scope of work to know what she was doing, so I know what more she needed to do to bring it up to code.
Okay,
I haven't gotten anything.
What date
gotcha.
that was?
It's Cypress.
What date you saw?
so,
Date you saw on the 8th?
One at a time.
That was about a week after we sent the letter.
No, before, because I never know about that. It was October.
Yeah, I guess my question was just to get
Just a minute. You actually still
clarification.
have the floor.
Okay, yeah, to get clarification on what actually happened, because we keep hearing conflicting stories, so that's why I was just wanting clarification if there was a third party that was there and heard what happened, so that's all I need to know. Thank you.
Okay. I know a few people wanted to speak. Mr. Russo, you had something? Or are you good?
How long ago was that when they at 8 o'clock? 3 months, 4 months ago.
Do what?
You were talking about what you talked to her about the doing the house.
That was in August,
August,
around the 23rd,
6 months ago.
24th. No, August.
Anybody else had any? Yes, sir.
So, we know that there's no power to the home. Is the house being, is this a rental property, or is it being occupied at the moment?
Mr. Elvis, I'm sorry to say that he's like homeless, but he lives over there. He's taking care of the grass, and I always get the grass down.
Okay, so is he a tenant, or he just stays there?
He just stayed there.
He just stays there.
I'm also a
Okay.
carpenter. I've been carpentering work for 30 years, but I
Okay.
can remodel that house and make it look 100% better than what it does. If I could just get permits to do it.
You can't get permits if you're not licensed or licensed to even do the work. I understand you probably are of great craftsmanship.
Anything
Uh,
over
I
70,
took care of 103 rent houses, and I didn't have no problems with no carpenter license.
according to the state
Still
law,
gospel. Don't mind them.
according to the state law, anything over $7,500 needs a home improvement.
Mhm.
Anything over 75,000 needs a residential contractor's license.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
so I don't have any cost. I don't know what it's gonna cost. I haven't gotten a scope of work. I haven't gotten anything, so I'm at a loss. I don't know what to tell them.
So ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
has the electrician given you an estimate on how much it's going to cost to rewire the house?
He said he looked at the house, and he said he's gonna come back and do it again to make sure to give me the right estimate. But he told me, it's gonna be probably $1,000, $2,000. I'm not sure really.
To rewire the house?
I'm not sure, but that's why he wanna come back again and do it, take his time and do it.
What about the plumber? I mean,
Same thing, the plumber, yes.
okay, so,
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it if I just have the chance. Now that I have, before I never had the financial or anything, and I couldn't do it. I don't have the time. Now I'm started having the time. I'm not going to school yet. Before I start going to college, I'm gonna do my house and finish. I told my baby girl because it's pink and I love it. I love all houses.
how long have you owned it?
I don't know what about 4, 5 years maybe, but I never had. We were going through divorce and all that stuff, and I didn't have financial.
Okay. Okay, so, this is a tough one.
Wait, let me ask
Go
you
ahead.
something. Can you get me the prices before December the 7th? That's 45 days.
I didn't say that.
Prices don't.
Yeah. So,
Prices
the estimates.
That was funny.
Yeah. That was actually going to be my next question.
If I get the prices, then it's
yeah.
December 7th, I can let you know what's going on.
So, ma'am, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, so I apologize.
Yes, ma'am.
Esma, Miss Esma? So, are you able to get your contractors to go back to Jimmy with estimates so that you can get a permit issued before December 7th? Now, today is October 20th, 19th?
Today my son's birthday. They were supposed to meet him in Lafayette.
Okay, so you got a month and a few weeks. So can you get that done? Can you make sure that Jimmy gets the estimates so that he can issue you a permit to fix this house?
You want exactly.
Plumbing, electrical, and carpentry. I need all that.
Oh, I'll tell you that, yes.
Okay, and so they need to be licensed contractors? So that you can get your permit, you have to make sure that these people are licensed contractors.
Okay, I mean, I know the plumber and the
Yeah.
electrician has to be licensed, definitely,
Right.
because I already lost the house for fire and I don't wanna. But the carpenter,
It depends on the cost of the project, whether he has to be licensed or not. The carpenter.
because we've been doing our houses almost 30 years.
I know. But the problem is, with the new state laws, if it's over $75,000, you gotta have a state licensed residential contractor.
Okay, and if it's not,
Then
Then
you
you're
have to
fine.
do it, then you have to have a home improvement license. After $7,500. Between $7,500 and $75,000, it'd have to be a home improvement contractor.
can I
That's
get,
state law.
can I get somebody that's licensed but let me do the work?
That's between you and that person.
I'm not going there.
Hey,
I'm not going there. That's in violation of state law.
Okay,
All right.
but even though if he hired me for the contract,
Okay, so,
Ma'am, do
I
you
think
have
that's
a,
what it takes. I just get
Was
a
that-
contractor, licensed contractor.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't like to break no laws. I like to, like me, I believe in shotgun.
remember, I do have to close the public
Okay.
hearing. We haven't gotten there.
Yeah. I'm done. I asked all
Okay.
my questions.
Then I need a motion to close our public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion.
Just to let y'all know, we did clean up. It's not like that in this, because a guy destroyed it. We did not do it. Somebody got drugged out, and he destroyed the whole porch, and he put all the trash in the back. That's what happened.
Okay.
And we cleaned all of that.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a motion to close by Councilwoman Deidre Reed Johnson and Councilwoman Ledbetter. So our public hearing is closed, and now we move to the action item. So do you have a
Okay,
recommendation?
so I have a recommendation that we go with option 3. I recommend we go with option 3, and we give her a chance to get her permit by getting her licensed contractors and her estimates to Jimmy by December 7th. At that time, if she hasn't done that, then I want to revisit this.
Okay, well then we have a motion on the floor.
I
for
second.
Option 3. We have a second by Councilwoman Ledbetter. Any discussion on this motion?
So, Ms. Esma,
Yes, ma'am.
what option 3 is, and I should have said exactly
Yes.
what it was, I apologize. Option 3 is basically saying that you're going to return to the Board of Trustees for a revisit on December 7th and give an update on the status of this project, this property. So that means that between now and then, you have to get the stuff Jimmy needs to him so that on December 7th, you come back, he's going to be here, you come back and tell us what you've done so far on the and then we're going to reassess at that time.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Then I would ask you to please vote your machines.
Okay, so you're good till December 7th? Okay, okay.
Madam Clerk?
Action, Resolution 21-135 on recent developments of state buildings located at 515 Dagg Street, District 2.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Lewis, and do I have a second? Councilman Broussard, I heard that.
Sorry.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and this is an action item. Discussion?
Their pictures.
Marlon made the motion.
The picture was brought up at the last council meeting. I went and put the sign, the owner called me. He wants to renovate, but he couldn't give me a time or a plan.
Okay, I don't think we have.
So, we want to set it for a revisit, option 3, for December the 7th.
I agree with that.
Okay, did he call you?
Yeah, I got a call from him.
Okay.
Yeah, and so like I'm like you, December the 7th, if he,
I haven't received anything from him.
right.
You know,
So Marlon, it's your district, and so.
Yeah, option
whatever you
3.
want. Okay.
I've been in communication with the guy and,
Good.
you know.
That's what we're looking for. I just want people to hear from you, you know.
Yeah, well, that's why I
think you're
chose
taking some
option
steps. That's why you did option 2
2.
last time. Okay.
Thinking
Uh-huh. So you turned 2 into 3.
and I
All
said
right.
that.
All right, you did. That's why I'm
I
bringing
said
it up. I give you your props. You
So,
turned
I
2
mean-
into 3. Okay. So is there any other discussion from anybody? So we have a motion on the floor to give this property option 3 and come back on December the 7th, right?
Correct.
Okay. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
I have a second by Councilwoman Deidre Johnson-Reed. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. All right, cool. We're using our tools. I like that. We move. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Okay, public hearing on the state of buildings located at 427 Field Street, District 5, for Resolution 21-70, as noticed and advertised on October 8th, 2021.
I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, and a second by Councilwoman Deidre Johnson-Reed. Is there anybody here to represent this property? Hearing and seeing nobody? I need a motion to close our public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Deidre Johnson-Reed, Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. And that one, we don't take any action on tonight.
I would like a motion to remove it.
Well, you get since when you make a motion? I'm picking. Okay. It's been cleaned up. I'm picking on you.
Make a motion, delete resolution
Yeah.
21-70.
Yeah,
So we're looking at an empty lot?
yeah, it's an
Yeah,
empty lot.
they cleaned it up.
It's
They cleaned up, they did an awesome.
another victory,
All right.
and I know I'm interrupting, but another victory. When we can get citizens
Correct.
to take care of their own property and not to spend our money that we're never gonna get back, this is what we're all about.
Yes.
You know, this is why we have those options.
Jeff had talked to the owner,
Yeah, that's awesome.
so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That second one, did he?
yeah, the Houston guy.
Yeah, he came by my house too. We
Yeah.
talked about it.
Yeah, nice guy.
Exactly what they said.
Good.
Yep.
So I have a fake motion from Jimmy, but a real motion from the Mayor Pro Tem. So do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. Is there any other discussion on this one, which is a winner? Then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you.
You think Dr. Adele can comply like this?
Moving right along. Next item.
Public hearing on the state of buildings located at 124 San Inez, District 1, for Resolution 21-75, as noticed and advertised on October 8th, 2021.
I need a motion to open this public hearing.
Motion.
Thank
Second.
you, Councilwoman Morcott and Councilwoman Ledbetter. Is there anybody here to represent this property? Hearing and seeing none, I need a motion to close.
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman DeeDee Reed and Councilwoman Ledbetter. Jimmy? Same as the last one, okay, well then I need a motion to, by someone in the council to remove this off the list.
Motion.
You have a picture?
You have a picture of this one?
Yep.
Hey man, what you doing?
There you go.
Nice.
I'm picking.
That's it.
Another
That's
success.
three.
See, our system works. It works. People do step up. And when they don't, we step up for them.
Amen.
I had a motion. Who made the motion?
And I'll
Council-
second it.
Okay, good. Councilman Lewis and Councilwoman Marcotte. Thank you. So any discussion on this motion on the floor to remove?
The neighbors are well pleased.
That's right. Then I'd ask you to please vote your machine.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Book 'em, Nano.
Madam Clerk?
Okay, we have
9A.
an amended, move from introduction of ordinance to recommendation from planning and zoning. Recommendation from planning and zoning, ordinance number 21-18, amending general ordinance number 304 of the city of New Iberia relative to rezoning property located at 410, 414, 418, 420, 426, and 428 West St. Peter Street from C1 Neighborhood Commercial to I1 Light Industrial. John Trape is the owner.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by the Mayor Pro Tem. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Broussard. Thank you. Okay, discussion on this item.
What's the plan?
Well, we have the owner here, and I know he can come up, but I know that it's rental property. It's part of the old Voorhees that has always really done industrial and always been occupied by business, and I think that, I'm speaking for him, but that's his plan, is to put tenants in and keep businesses there, which is good for our taxes. And they're empty buildings now, so, yeah, you want to add anything since you are?
Well, the request was to rezone property that is presently contiguous with the surrounding area. The property in the past has been used industrial to repair light tools and so forth, and was grandfathered in because it's, was occupied with the light industrial use probably since before zoning went into effect.
Zoning was 83, so it's been out.
Yeah, so we posted 2 zoning signs on the property to make sure people were aware. We sent letters to all of the surrounding property owners. We had a public hearing and no one came in opposition. I received no letters, mail in opposition. And so the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommends approval.
Okay.
Any other? Yes, sir.
Mr. Trape, you do know that you're going to be required to get a permit if you do any reconstruction, right? Just a joke. Just to lighten it up a little bit. Thank you for investing in our city, really. Thank you.
Pretty good. Yes,
Is that the big blue building or the ones across?
the ones across the street.
The ones
The ones
across the street. And so basically, we're keeping it like it is, right?
Yes, yes.
It's kind of like the same situation we had with Mr. John Lewis a couple of years
Pretty
ago
much,
on
pretty much,
Anderson
yeah,
Street.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Anybody else have any comments, questions? No?
Question,
Yes, ma'am.
gonna upgrade, the properties or?
Come on up.
Well, my name's John Trappe. We've cleaned up around there, removed some fencing, cut trees down that were over the buildings. Tomorrow we're going to start painting the front of one of them, trying to make it more attractive. And the plan is to continue renting them out. I have one person that wants to rent one of the buildings and do motorcycle repairs, four-wheeler repairs, that type of stuff in that particular building. And then that one building's rented for a furniture store. And he's currently in there.
Okay.
Okay. Then if there's no further discussion, I would ask you to please vote your machines. Great, thank you. And I want to thank John. I mean, I know him as a developer. He buys a lot of property. He renovates them. He turns out a good product. And thank you for the investment. That's what we need.
And you're welcome to stay for the rest of the
Yeah, you want to stay for the rest of the meeting? All right. Good night, y'all. Now we have a discussion item. Madam Clerk?
Discussion item number 10, Clico Energy Corporation rate increase.
Great. Councilman Lewis?
Yeah, Mayor, I asked this to be placed on the agenda because of the enormous amount of calls that I got from my constituents concerning the increase on CLECO's utility bills over the past several months. We had a guest tonight to speak from the public, and thank you for your research and all of this. But, I definitely want to see if we can get the council's support, or non-support of these hike increases that CLECO is putting on us, and maybe get a resolution to Public Service Commissioner and CLECO, letting them know that, our constituents are a bit upset by these rate increases. This, in some cases, $100 more, in some bills, some people's homes, and again for the elderly and for disenfranchised kind of below that median poverty level, man. That's that's kind of tough, And also, I wanted to put it on the agenda because a lot of people, they thought that the city council, it's kind of like the lines being drawn on from the demographer. They thought that the city council could make CLECO, lower their rates. So I wanted to. I don't like to take on things like this by myself, so I wanted to get it on the agenda and have a discussion about it and see where it goes from here. I know it's a public service commissioner task, if you will, but it was enough discussion buzzing from my constituents that I felt that something that we should discuss about possibly getting a resolution passed or what have you, or sent to the public service commissioners and CLECO about how we feel as a council about those rate increases.
Right.
Those astronomical rate increases in some cases, most cases.
Good. Mr. Broussard, get your hand up.
I always thought CLECO was our family over here through a lot of hurricanes. I was wondering, is this the last scenario, or are they going to come and present their case to us? Look like they would come with a rate increase like this.
Right.
We come explain where they coming from. They used to do it in the past, and I encourage them in the field when I see them. Send your boss man over here. Talk to us. Explain what y'all doing. If they don't come and visit us in person, that's a big letdown on this kind of increase. Because I really count them as family, because every hurricane comes, they really fast on fixing things. So I'm disappointed if we don't hear from them in person.
All right. Any other? Yes, ma'am. I'm just going to go around.
Yeah. So I also received some calls from people complaining about these bills. I mean, I had one of my constituents tell me that they received a $1,500 light bill in 1 month. And so I'm like freaking out because I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, she told me she had to pay it. So here's the thing, and I don't know if this is being taken into consideration, but we have a lot of older homes in this city that are not winterized, or they don't have the right type of insulation. As a matter of fact, you see a lot of wooden houses, and when they lose a board, there's no insulation in these houses. And so people have to run their AC, or they have to run just to be able to live comfortably. And so this rate increase, I mean, I have a newer home, and so I saw maybe a $10 increase in my bill. But there are a lot of people that saw much higher, and without a whole lot of explanation especially because of the older homes, and the elderly live in those homes, you know, we need to look out for our constituents in that way. And I don't know how much power we have here, but if nothing else, it would be nice if they did come in front of us and explain to us what's going on, why this is happening, what costs they're trying to cover with these, you know, this additional revenue that they're getting from these higher rates.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Marlo, I actually appreciate you putting this on the agenda because, you know, we get the negative feedback on social media like crazy, and they think it is the city council that increased these rates. I live in a house that was built in the 40s, so I know what it's like to get that bill. So I want to reach out to people and say, I'm getting those bills too. I'm not happy about it, but at the same time, like Marlo mentioned, it's up to the Public Service Commission's office. So I don't think it's going to hurt to send a request or even ask a question. Right. And like Mr. Broussard said, have them come up here in front of us and explain to us why were the increases put in place and all these things. That way the public can know, and not just ask us, because really we're receiving the same treatment.
Yeah, we all pay a bill.
So,
Right.
you know, but Marlo, thanks for putting it up here. So that's all I have to say on that matter.
Yes, ma'am.
I too have been getting the complaints, even from the people who live in nicer neighborhoods. You know, it's not just those that live in the poorer side of town or anything like that. It's everybody is complaining. It's just really crazy how much they can go up on your electricity bill. I don't understand why they couldn't go up just a little bit for a longer period of time instead of being so much at once for a short period of time. So if there is anything that we can do to convince them to change that, I'm definitely on board to do that.
Okay. Everybody spoke? You good?
I'm good.
Okay. I appreciate it. I'm glad you did put it on because I get called too, and I pay utility bills just like everybody else, not only for my house, my company, my rental buildings, City Hall. So I have no problem. You know, we can draft a resolution. We all know that the Public Service Commissioner, you know, CLECO goes before them to get approval to raise the rates. They have meetings, they go over it, and that is out of our control. We don't have that much stroke. But we are still a customer. We still are, you know, part of a user, and we are a large city. So I have no problem drafting a resolution asking CLECO. One, we can invite CLECO. We got a really good rep. We can invite our rep to come and see if he'll come with us or bring somebody to have a discussion so that all our citizens can see and we can all hear the same information. And I have no problem drafting a resolution that we send to CLECO and the Public Service Commission. You know, I have no bones about it. It's a good discussion, and let's see where it goes. I mean, we can try. How much stroke we really have, you know, I don't know that, because this has happened across the state. It's not only CLECO, it's LAWCO, it's all, you know, we've had rate increases with all of our utilities. It is unfortunate that they all hit at the same time, because LAWCO raised their rates recently, and I had a lot of calls about, you know, their rate increases as well. So it's something we owe our citizens to look into and to get people here to talk to us if they're willing to, and to send it to the Public Service Commission. So I have no problem with, you know, doing this. Marlon, thank you. It's a good discussion. Thanks for putting it on. So what I'll do is draft a resolution and get it back to you, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So I think a lot of the emphasis tonight was placed on residents, but as a business owner, it's actually going up tremendously as well. I mean, I own three businesses, and I can tell you it's affecting us to the bottom line. But remember that it's just like a Pandora box. You know, you talking Clico, next is gonna be Loco, next is gonna be Energy. You know, you got a lot of different entities that are doing the same thing. So, you know, what you need to do as a council, and like the mayor said, you need to invite the Public Service Commissioner, who's Mike Francis or Mr. Craig Green.
Right.
Have them come up and explain to you why they did it and what they're doing, and that would give you a broad perspective of why they're doing it to everybody. Clico's just one small piece. So I would encourage you to invite the Public Service Commissioner for this area to come and explain to us.
I'm fine with that. It'd be an interesting conversation, and
I think they'd be willing to come.
Yeah, I think they would. I mean, that's what they do.
Yeah.
So they're public servers just like us. So let's hear from them.
Yep.
So
Then I'll put something together.
my thought was, and if you don't agree, Marlo, my thought was to invite the Public Service Commission before we target one specific Clico or law. Let's get the general consensus from them first, and then we'll go.
Well, it would be interesting to see how that works and to have a discussion on how they come to these conclusions.
Right. My thoughts on it.
You know, no offense, but in a very weird economy, to say the least, that's when they pick to all of a sudden say, okay, we're doing this. So it would be, I'd like to know that as much as I still want to get the utility companies here. I don't want to not do that. But it would be interesting to see how a group decides with the way we have some uncertainty and the way our economy is right now to say, oh yeah, it's time to raise them. I would kind of like to know that. That's the bigger picture. So thank you for that, man.
Yeah, and then just how to ask, can we ask for, just like Clico went and asked for to increase, can we as a council go and ask for a rate reduction on behalf of our community,
I don't know if we can, but
on behalf of our constituents? You know,
you can ask me anything. I don't know if we'll get it, but
Right.
we can
I don't
have a
know.
conversation.
I don't know either.
I don't
know.
I'm sitting here right now saying, what does the Public Service Commissioner do
Well-
for
I'll
us?
tell you, just briefly, they
So
give
let's have a boucherie.
Yeah, one at a time. That's it. That's
they give
it.
them a window, and they give them an option to increase. So they don't have to, but they can. They give them a window.
Yes, they do. They do. That's exactly how it works. And they know when the opportunity is, and they put all their stuff together, and they wait for 2 or 3 years till it's time to go and do it, and then they ask for a rate increase. Okay, well then that's what we'll do. Sounds good. No, you
No.
really can't. You get the public comment in the beginning, but we don't have any back and forth after that. That's our rules.
I seen you let other people take.
Not at this part of the meeting. No, we don't. But I like the discussion. I like where we're heading. So I will prepare some resolutions, and we will get them back to you. And you will help me reword them if you don't like them. And like we always do, we're a team. So I'll get some resolutions together to the Public Service Commissioner and to the utility companies, and we'll go from there. But I like this. I mean, I think this is what we're here to do. Any further discussion on the side? Good. Now we'll go to Councilman's remarks. I'll start with Brooke.
Okay, this Saturday is the District 1 litter cleanup at 8 o'clock in the morning. So if any of you guys are bored Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning, feel free to come down to the Santiago Park. That's where we're going to meet at, and we're going to clean up Gaspet Road. Also, on Halloween, on the 31st, there's going to be, Mr. Marlowe went over this last time, the Wolf Retreat put on by Miss Latifah Gray. She just needs a few more donations. If anyone wants to donate, canned sodas, hand sanitizer, and disinfectant spray. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Mayor, I just want to kind of give a shout out to two groups that got together this weekend. One group called the Sons of Kings, and another group called Virtuous Women and Virtuous Kids. They got out this weekend and they fed the first responders. Matter of fact, I went up there at the same time as the fire department was there, you know, and it was good to see them. And the food was good. I was like, y'all could have sold this food. It was really good. I'm just being honest. I do like to eat, but it was good. You know, people take their time to give food, cook it right. You know, you got to give them, you know,
Give them props.
give them their props, man. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Broussard.
Stewart Street, finally being worked on.
Yes, sir.
Ding. Councilor, Mr. Mayor, myself, we use some of our monies to get the project going. So I'm proud of us doing that for that.
Y'all got it going, and the council contributed the rest because we were kind of short, but that's good. That's good. Good stuff.
But please watch out for the blockages.
Yes.
You know,
It's about a month project, so
It's gonna be inconvenient.
just bear
go
with it.
another
folks.
direction. So that's all I have to say tonight.
Good, thank you. Good.
So just briefly, I think we had a successful gumbo cook-off. I wasn't able to attend, I was working, but from all I hear, that it was a nice public event, not as normal, but, encourage, more public events to take place and move in that direction. This Sunday, beneath the balconies, Lake Main Street will be closed. I don't know the exact time, but another great event. Come out and attend it. I was fortunate to be asked to sponsor it, and I'm helping them sponsor it, so that's going to be a great event.
Councilman Ledbetter.
I passed tonight.
Okay.
I just want to let everybody know that the Downtown Neighborhood Association is having their first house painting event on November 6th on Ann Street. And we are looking for volunteers to come out. We're also going to try and do some landscaping around the house just to make it really nice. We're going to do a second house. We think it's not going to be on Ann Street, it's going to be on the side, but it's a senior citizen who could use some help. So we're going to try to tackle that one at the same time if we get enough volunteers. Also, our Downtown Neighborhood Association meeting is November 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Masonic. And we hope that people in the community will come out and participate in the meeting. And then I would say that the Hopkins Street cleanup has been rescheduled, unfortunately, for the last time, to November 20th because when we picked November 13th, they had not announced that they were changing election day to November 13th. So we're like, okay, we can't do that on the same day that they're having the election. So we're going to do it on November 20th, and we're going to have the cleanup in the morning. And if all goes well, we hope to have the unveiling of the Martin Luther King signs that afternoon. So the street will be clean. We hope that we'll be able to kind of feed the community while we're out there, and then we'll have the unveiling of the Martin Luther King signs at that time. So we hope that everybody will come out. It's a joint effort between District 5 and District 2. And so Marlon and I are working together to try and make this happen. And I would say also the Sons of Kings. They are a great partner with us, and they're really helping us to make sure, and Weckner, let me not forget Weckner, they're making sure that we can tackle this project. So I want to thank our partners for helping us with this.
Great.
And Parish Proud, sorry.
Good stuff. And Republic still bringing a dumpster?
Yes, I just got to get the place nailed down.
Put the dumpster.
Yeah.
And then pick it up quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Last time.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen.
No, we don't. Dustin?
I think I had enough to say tonight, so I just want to wish everybody a good evening, and that's it.
Great.
Thank you.
I don't have too much. I need to thank Push. Pray until something happens. They gave me a little award last Friday. They had a meeting, and there was their banquet. It was well attended, and I thank them for recognizing, we all in this together. And so I needed to thank them publicly. Other than that, we have, a lot of events beneath the balconies. We have on the day before Halloween, on the Saturday, we have our first Halloween parade, something we've never done before. The participation is picking up. We have some dance teams. We have golf carts. We have antique cars. People are making floats. It should be interesting. That'll roll on Main Street at 2 o'clock. We meet up here and we dye the fountain black for Halloween and float some skulls in it. And then we start the parade on Prairie, and it runs down Main. It's we don't know how it's going to be for this first year. It's something new, but only New Orleans and home of Thibodeau have Halloween parades. We'd like to end up that if this takes off, it would turn into a little festival, and we would do more, but this was kind of our experiment this year, so we'll see how it goes. But that's the Saturday before Halloween. We're having the meetings to prep for all of the community events that are back. It's fun to see the Spanish Festival coming back. It's fun to see the Christmas parade is coming back. They're both trying to add boat parades to their events. New things are happening, and it's just good to see we're getting back to some sense of normality and of being a community. So I'm excited about that, and we have a lot going on. I'm blessed. I probably haven't thanked y'all in a while, but this council and myself, we do a lot of work, and we work very well together. And, people are going to start really seeing all the things we have coming. When our road program starts, when we begin to spend the CARES Act money, that we all were awarded, when we start spending the ARPA money, I just really see that good things are coming. But I have to thank y'all because we're a team. It comes from all of us. And I don't ever want to take that for granted. And I think our citizens should be reminded of that what you see at these meetings is real. You watch us cooperate. You watch us communicate with each other. That goes on behind the scenes. I wish you could follow me around for a day. I wish you could see the phone conversations and the texts and how we go back and forth as a unit, as a group. So I just take the opportunity when I can. I want to thank y'all for that. Other than that, our next meeting is November the 2nd. And we have the MS4 survey on the internet, and we still have properties on Civic Source to sell. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.